Welcome and thank you for standing by. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode until the question and answer session of the call. To ask a question during that time, please press star followed by number 1. Today's conference is being recorded. Any objections, you may disconnect at this time. Now I'd like to turn over the conference to Andrew Slack. Thank you. You may begin.
Great. Thanks, Angela. Welcome, everyone. I'm Andrew Slack. I'm an Associate Program Manager here at the CDFI Fund on the CDFI Program and Native Initiatives team, joined by some of my colleagues, and we're going to have operator, could you please mute the lines of the participants? We're getting some feedback.
Okay.
You already have it set up. Why is the same one?
And Angela, if you can just confirm when the lines have been muted.
Yes, all lines are muted.
Great, thanks, Angela. So we are recording today's webinar. There will be a brief 20 to 25-minute presentation, and then we'd like to save as much time as possible for questions and answers. Again, I'm Andrew Schlack. I'm Associate Program Manager here on the CDFI and Native Initiative Program. I'm joined in the room by 4 colleagues. Just introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Matthew Pickering, Portfolio Manager with the CDFI and NACA program team.
Hi, I'm Megan Carrera. I'm a Portfolio Manager as well.
Hi, I'm Roop Chase. I'm a Senior Portfolio Manager.
Hi, this is Clint Hastings, Senior Portfolio Manager.
Great. So we're excited everyone joined us today. There may be a few additional colleagues on the phone. We're going to have a brief presentation here to part of our series of webinars that's part of the outreach around the fiscal year 2020 CDFI and Native Initiative Program applications. Before I introduce Matthew Pickering and Roop Chase, who are going to go through the heart of the materials that are prepared today, I just want to exit out of this and navigate everyone to the website. All of the materials that are going to be discussed today are available for download on our website. So if you go to our main page at the CDFI Fund, which is the domain name URL is cdfifund.gov, and you hover over this bar here, Programs and Training, go down to Programs, and we have links to the various programs offered here at the CDFI Fund. What folks have called in for today is an overview on the CDFI program and Native Initiatives. These pages are roughly symmetrical once you get into the application portion of them, so in the interest of time, let's just drill into the CDFI program, and it has some details about the CDFI program. At the bottom of this page and also at the bottom of the Native Initiatives page is our 5-step application process. Today we're going to be covering materials that are under Step 2 here, how to apply. And so we'll just navigate to Step 2, how to apply. And this brings you to the sort of landing page for the current fiscal year's funding applications. And so we have a schedule provided here of the key dates that Ruth and Matthew are going to talk us through today. We have links to all of the various webinars that are upcoming. Again, as I mentioned, this is the first of 5 webinars. You can see that they're scheduled today. We're here at this one, March 3rd. These are being recorded, and so once the recording is posted, this access link, this information here will disappear on how to access the webinar, and it will be a link out to our YouTube page. So if you want to share this information with colleagues, maybe they weren't available to participate on today's call, but you want to share the information with them, all these upcoming 5 webinars will be posted there. What we're going to cover today is really covered under the NOFA. So there's the CDFI program NOFA. Again, if you're interested in Native Initiatives, on the NACA program pages, there's the NACA program NOFA in the same place. So we've brought that up as a reference point that we may refer to, but just wanted to direct people there that the materials that Matthew and Roop are going to jump into right now are all coming out of the NOFA, so just to provide that resource. So without any more time here, again, I'd like to introduce Matthew Pickering and Roop Chase. We have a 20-minute presentation, and then the operator will do a facilitated question and answer at the end. So, Matthew.
Great. Thanks, Andrew. So today we're going to start with a quick overview of the 2020 fiscal year award programs being offered under the CDFI and NACA programs. This webinar is going to focus on getting started with your FY 2020 CDFI or NACA application, including going over some of the basic elements of each program. We will be reviewing key tips on how to prepare for the application and going over some key dates and eligibility information. With that in mind, we'd like to keep this webinar helpful for everyone on the line. So we won't be covering reasons why your organization was unsuccessful in prior award rounds, instructions on how to enter data into an application in the CDFI Fund's Award Management Information System, also known as AMIS, nor will we be covering matching funds questions specific only to your organization. But again, if you have any questions about some of these topics that might be helpful for the rest of the folks on the line, feel free to ask them and we'll address them as appropriate. CDFI and NACA programs each offer two primary types of awards, including the Financial Assistance, or FA Award, and the Technical Assistance, or TA Award. The FA program includes base financial assistance, which all FA applicants apply for. Under the base FA program, applicants can choose to apply for additional funds through one of three supplemental applications, including Healthy Foods Financing Initiative, HFFI FA, Persistent Poverty Counties, PPC FA, or Disability Funds, DFFA. All three of the supplemental applications are evaluated separately from base FA and will not affect the base FA evaluation or the base FA award amount. The CDFI and NACA programs both also offer a separate award program for technical assistance. Roop and I will go over some of the details of these programs later in the presentation. And now I'm going to hand it off over to Roop, who's going to discuss the CDFI and NACA eligibility categories and some details about the base FA program.
Okay, thanks, Matthew. The fiscal year 20 CDFI and NACA certification categories include Certified CDFIs, Emerging CDFIs, and for NACA, sponsoring entities. Please refer to Table 5 of the program NOFA for specifics. A certified CDFI is an entity that has been officially notified by the CDFI Fund that it meets all certification requirements. To be considered a certified CDFI, you must be certified as of the date of publication of the NOFA, which in this case was February 20th. An emerging CDFI is an uncertified entity that demonstrates to the CDFI Fund in its application that it has an acceptable plan to meet certification requirements by the end of its period of performance or the date stipulated by the CDFI Fund. Emerging CDFIs with prior awards will be held to the certification PG&Ms stated in the prior assistance agreement. Emerging CDFIs may only apply for TA awards. They are ineligible to apply for FA. Emerging CDFIs selected to receive TA awards must become certified by the date specified in their assistance agreement. Sponsoring entities include any legal organization that primarily serves a Native community with at least 50% of its activities directed towards the Native community. Sponsoring entities may only apply for a NACA TA award. They are ineligible to apply for FA. Sponsoring entities selected to receive a TA award will be required to create and certify an emerging CDFI by the dates specified in their assistance agreement. This newly created CDFI must serve Native communities. The CDFI base FA. Only certified CDFIs are eligible to apply. Core base FA applicants must have at least half of the matching funds in hand or committed at application. The matching funds requirement for small and/or emerging CDFI assistance or SECA applicants is waived for fiscal year 20. The SECA maximum award size is $700,000 and the minimum is $350,000. The core maximum award is $1 million, while the minimum is $500,000. The forms of award for SECA will be in grants, while the core form of award will depend upon the type of matching funds provided. The reporting period will be 3 years as specified in each recipient's assistance agreement. Native American CDFI Assistance, or NACA, base FA. Similar to the CDFI base FA, only certified CDFIs may apply. However, an applicant must also demonstrate that at least 50% of past activities were in one or more Native communities and must describe how it will target lending and/or investing activities to one or more Native communities. The matching funds requirement for NACA base FA has been waived for fiscal year 20. NACA base FA maximum award is $1 million, while the minimum is $150,000. The NACA base FA awards will be made in the form of grants. The NACA base FA reporting period will also be 3 years, similar to the CDFI FA.
Applicants who are certified and submit a base FA application for either the CDFI or NACA program can also apply for supplemental funding under 3 supplemental applications. Only applicants who receive a base FA award will be eligible to receive one of these supplemental awards. Under the Healthy Foods Financing Initiative, applicants who are engaged in qualifying healthy foods financing activities may apply for a minimum of $500,000 and a maximum of $5 million. There are no matching funds for HFFI FA in the 2020 funding round, so all HFFI FA awards will be in the form of a grant. Certified applicants who submit a base FA application and who do qualifying work in persistent poverty counties are eligible to apply for a maximum of $300,000 and a minimum of $100,000 under the PPC FA program. PPC FA awards are subject to matching funds requirements for core applicants whose base FA applications are subject to matching funds requirements. The award will be in the form of any matching funds provided. NACA and SECA applicants do not require matching funds, and thus any PPC FA award to these applicants would be in the form of a grant. PPC FA awards are subject to a 3-year performance period. Certified applicants who submit a base FA application and who do qualifying work supporting individuals with disabilities are eligible to apply for a maximum of $500,000 and a minimum of $100,000 under the DFFA program. DFFA awards are also subject to matching funds requirements for core applicants, so the award will be in the form of the matching funds provided. SECA and NACA applicants who receive a DFFA award will receive the award in the form of a grant. DFFA awards also have a 3-year period of performance.
The CDFI Technical Assistance. Emerging CDFIs and certified CDFIs are eligible to apply. Certified CDFIs must meet the SECA eligibility criteria in Table 8 of the NOFA. There is no matching funds requirement. The maximum award is $125,000, while the minimum is $10,000. The award will be in the form of a grant, and the reporting period is 2 years for a certified CDFI and 3 years for an uncertified recipient. NACA technical assistance. Emerging CDFIs, certified CDFIs, and sponsoring entities may apply for NACA technical assistance. TA applicants must demonstrate that the certified emerging CDFI or the CDFI to be created will be primarily serving one or more Native communities. The maximum award is $150,000, while the minimum is $10,000. All NACA TA awards will be in the form of a grant. The NACA TA reporting period is 2 years for certified CDFI recipients, 3 years for uncertified CDFI recipients, and 4 years for sponsoring entities.
Next, we're going to spend a few minutes talking about preparing for and beginning your application, some of which was also covered in our previous webinar this past December. The application process can be broken up into 3 separate phases, including pre-application, application components, which includes filling out the actual application, and finally, submission and review. Today's webinar is going to focus on the first phase, which includes requirements related to SAM.gov and Grants.gov, as well as setting up your AMIS account. We encourage all applicants to review the application materials on the CDFI and NACA program website. I'll take another quick moment just to review again how to find the resources available on our website. Just as Andrew had showed earlier, we're going to navigate to the CDFI Fund's main website at cdfifund.gov. Once on that website, you want to hover over Programs and Training, and then Programs. And whether you're applying for a CDFI or a NACA grant will determine which one of these you're going to click on. But as Andrew said, they're mostly parallel between the 2 pages, but they do have some information specific to each separate program. So in this instance, we click on the Native Initiatives or NACA program, scroll down to How to Apply, and click on the number 2 for Apply. And here again, you'll see all of the resources, the timeline associated with this funding round, access for future webinars, and all of the associated guidance, NOFA, and similar materials for the FA, financial assistance, and the technical assistance award program. So the application process for the CDFI and NACA programs can be thought of as 2 major segments with distinct deadlines. It is important to keep track of any due dates prior to the final due date for application submission. On March 23rd, 2020, there are 3 elements to the application that must be completed, including creating an AMIS account, which is especially applicable to new applicants, entering your EIN and DUNS numbers into AMIS. And it's important to note this because this is a new requirement this year for the 2020 funding round. And also you must submit your SF-424 through Grants.gov. Note that the SF-424 is submitted through Grants.gov and not through AMIS. Next, on April 17th is the last day to contact CDFI program staff with questions about the application. And finally, on April 21st, at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, the application is due. This is also the last day to contact the AMIS Help Desk. The first step to getting started is to fully read the FY 2020 CDFI and/or NACA program NOFAs. Next, be sure to obtain an employer identification number as well as a Dun & Bradstreet or DUNS number if your organization does not already have one. As part of this, be sure to register at and/or update your accounts at the System for Award Management, or SAM.gov, and Grants.gov and AMIS. Familiarize yourself with all the application materials available on our website as we previously discussed. Please be sure to verify the accuracy and uniformity of your EIN and DUNS numbers across SAM.gov, Grants.gov, and AMIS. It's important to note that the CDFI fund will reject applications that are submitted with the EIN or DUNS number of a parent or affiliate organization. The CDFI fund will also reject an application if the EIN or DUNS number in the applicant's AMIS account does not match the corresponding number in its Grants.gov or SAM.gov account. A few tips for SAM.gov. If you are a new user, please register at SAM.gov as soon as possible. If you're an existing user, please make sure that your account is up to date and active. As a reminder, your SF-424 must be validated by Grants.gov by March 23, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. The CDFI fund will not consider any applications from organizations who fail to meet this deadline as a result of failing to register or activate their SAM.gov account, or who fail to submit their SF-424 through Grants.gov in a timely manner. We do not maintain SAM.gov, so if you have any questions relating to this service, please contact the Federal Service Desk, and we'll go over some of the contact information for SAM.gov and Grants.gov at the end of this presentation. You should submit your SF-424 via Grants.gov. This document must be validated by Grants.gov by March 23rd at 11:59 p.m. If this is not successfully completed, we will not review any materials associated with the applicant's AMIS profile. If you are a new Grants.gov user, you should register as soon as possible, and if you are an existing user, please check to make sure your account is active and up to date. We emphasize the importance of timely submission on SAM.gov and Grants.gov because we do not want to see anyone's application be denied for failure to meet a deadline on either of these websites. As a note, if the amount of FA or TA you request on your SF-424 is different from the amount you request on your application in AMIS, the CDFI fund will only consider the amount you request in AMIS. And as with SAM.gov, we do not maintain Grants.gov. So if you need assistance regarding Grants.gov, please contact them directly. It's crucial that your SF-424 be submitted under the correct funding number based on whether you are applying under the CDFI or NACA program. If you are applying under the CDFI program, be careful not to select the NACA program funding number and vice versa. Applicants that submit an SF-424 under the incorrect program funding number will be deemed ineligible.
Okay, the Awards Management Information System, also known as AMIS. Applicants must register as an organization in AMIS and submit the application materials via AMIS. The SF-424 is the only required document that will not be submitted via AMIS. It must be done in Grants.gov and by March 23rd. All applicants must also enter their EIN and DUNS number in AMIS by March 23rd. An applicant is required to designate at least one authorized representative and point of contact in AMIS. The authorized representative may not be a consultant. Please make sure you properly register and update your AMIS account. Applicants should review Table 10 of the Program NOFA for the required documents. AMIS will validate that you have provided the required documents before you can submit your application. Make sure you allow plenty of time to review and complete the required application documents. Keep in mind, once submitted, the application will be locked and cannot be resubmitted, edited, or modified. Once again, 3 important dates to remember: March 23rd, April 17th, and April 21st. Make sure you monitor these deadlines and stay ahead of the deliverables. All right, it's time for some trivia. True or false, Matthew? The CDFI fund maintains and runs the SAM.gov and Grants.gov systems.
I'll say that's false.
Correct. The CDFI fund does not administer either SAM.gov or Grants.gov. True or false? All FY20 application components, including the SF-424, must be submitted via AMIS.
False.
That is correct. The SF-424 must be submitted via grants.gov. True or false? Applicants are encouraged to submit their SF-424 forms as early as possible.
True.
That is correct. The deadline is March 23rd. True or false? Applicants can only submit one application per program, CDFI and NACA.
Also true.
That is correct. True or false? The CDFI fund will reject an application if the EIN and DUNS number in AMIS do not match the EIN and DUNS number in grants.gov and SAM.gov.
True again.
That is correct. Good job, Matthew. Okay, these are some important contacts. For CDFI program and certification, you will need to contact either the help desk or CCME. For AMIS, you can email amis@cdfi.tres.gov. And make sure you contact either grants.gov or SAM.gov directly, as the CDFI fund does not administer either of these websites. Additional information and all the application materials for the FY20 programs is available on the CDFI Fund's website. That's at www.cdfifund.gov.
Terrific. Thank you, Ruth and Matthew, for taking us through right on time, on schedule. Angela, at this point, we'd like to open up the conversation to our callers so that we can be helpful in answering any questions folks might have with the materials covered today, keeping in mind, again, what you're able to cover. And Angela, if you want to give instructions on how to queue up questions, that'd be terrific.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. If you'd like to ask a question, please press star 1 and record your name clearly. To withdraw your request, please press star 2. Once again, to ask a question, please press star followed by number 1.
And Angela, as folks are beginning to call in here, we have a couple of questions that have come in through our service request system. And again, for folks, service requests through AMIS are the most efficient ways to have your questions addressed throughout the application period, and just generally throughout the year. We're able to respond to service requests through AMIS. But a couple of questions that have come in, we'll just, as folks are teeing up their questions through Angela, let's put those on the table here and we can help address those. And also note that recently, to check back on the website, because we do post periodic updates. So one document, set of documents that was just posted today, specifically around the AMIS guidance manual. So we've produced 2 documents for navigating through AMIS for the application for 2020, one document for the financial assistance program, and another document for the technical assistance program. So again, refer to this resource library that's on the website. But as we've gotten a few questions that have come in, why don't I just put these out there. We'll also make these into frequently asked questions, and then underscore as you submit service requests, if there's a volume of service requests coming in around the same question, we'll issue responses to those directly to your service requests, but you also help your colleagues in the field because those make it onto our frequently asked questions list, such as this one. So here's one question that has come in recently, and the question is, I filed my SF-424 and it's not showing up in AMIS. Am I doing something wrong?
So, as Andrew said, a lot of people are having issues with getting their SF-424s to show up on their AMIS profile. We want to let everyone know that grants.gov made a change to the way SF-424s are downloaded, and we know that here in-house, and it's something that we're working on a fix for internally. So we're hoping to have that issue resolved this week, but don't worry, as long as you've received a submission validation receipt for application from grants.gov, that means that your SF424 has been validated, and as soon as we get the issue cleared up on our end, they should show up on AMIS.
Great, thank you, Matthew. Another question, and then we'll turn it over to Angela for facilitated questions. So if you've not had a chance to dial in yet to ask your questions as an audience member, please do so now with Angela. But another question that has come in is the question is, which as of date should my organization use to update the total assets field on our organization profile before creating an application? And so I've navigated us to a test organization as if I was going to be launching an application. The field that is in question is right here. It's the total asset size field. This field needs to be updated prior to launching an application. And the response to this question is that applicants are directed to either use one of two options, which is the total assets as of the end of the applicant's most recent fiscal year end date, which is what was stated in the NOFA. And the second option is the total assets as of the date of the applicant's most recent historic fiscal year end, as defined in the FA application guidance, specifically on Table 13. And so if we go to the application guidance, really want to direct people to this resource in responding to this question, because it varies on each applicant's fiscal year end. So as I navigate down to Table 13, as people respond in updating their total asset size as of the date of their most recent historic fiscal year end, this is necessary to launch the application so that your application financial data, which is the basis for all the projections and data that's collected, is benchmarked against the correct period. And so depending on your fiscal year end, once I get down to Table 13 here, this table will specifically help you reference based on when your fiscal year end is on which date to be using to update that field prior to launching an application. So those were two common questions that we've gotten to date. So reference Table 13 in responding to the total asset size question at startup. With that, Angela, we'll pass it back over to you for coordinated questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question comes from Lydia. Your line is open.
My name is Lydia Walker with Community First Fund. My question has been answered in part. It's about the SF424. I just wanted to confirm, so if we have submitted the SF24 and received the email that says that it's been submitted and validated by grants.gov, that means even though it's not showing up in AMIS, we can still start our application and create our application. Is that correct?
Yes, Lydia, that's definitely correct. You should be able to start your application, and again, as soon as we get the issue resolved on our end, you should see that SF424 upload onto your AMIS account.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Great. And Angela, there may be a couple of colleagues from the CDFI fund, if they've called in and they want to participate as leaders of the call, Tanya Vardavarian, who's an associate program manager, and Candace Herring, who's also an associate program manager, and Amber Bell, who's the program manager. They were at a meeting which abutted this time start, but they may have called in since then. If you see them on the phone call and want to unlock their lines so that they can also respond to these questions, that'd be terrific. Thank you. Angela?
Okay. If they can press *0, I can go ahead and open their lines. I'm not able to see their names right now, but if they can, those three speakers can press *0. Our next question comes from Ben. Your line is open.
Ben, your phone, you may have the mute button on your receiver on. Ben, your phone line's open. You might check your mute button. Can't hear you.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Ben. Hi there.
Hello. I've got a question about the the expansion of overall products and services. In the application, there's a narrative opportunity when entering the floor for that particular FA objective where we are permitted to discuss net loan growth if we are below the floor. If we utilize that option and are discussing that a bank or other lender is experiencing growth in their net loan portfolio, even if their originations don't reach the floor, does that affect how the PG&M is generated as well, or is the PG&M still generated based on originations rather than net loan portfolio?
So Ben, you've raised a really specific question. What we would like to do is have you submit that question via service request, and we'll respond to that directly. Given the nature of this kickoff call is for general application overview and getting started questions. And also we're going to have a specific question and answer session for financial assistance applications. We want to save this time today to dealing with getting started issues, but we'll be able to respond to your question very quickly through a service request.
Certainly. Thanks very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
As a reminder, to ask a question, please press star followed by number 1. We have no further questions at this time.
Well, impressive work, Matthew and Roop. We've covered a lot of ground, but we will leave the line open here, realizing that we've had really great participation, well over 100 callers. Today we want to make sure everyone gets a chance to answer their questions, but while we do that, let's just, pull up these dates again, and Angela, just let us know when somebody else joins in. We know our industry love questions, and we love responding to questions, so we're going to leave the line open here as we get more questions. We'll just bring up these key dates again, and March 23rd, as Roop and Matthew underscored, this hard deadline, and around the SF424, and we like to say around the office, you don't get extra points or anything for being the last application in or the last SF424 in. So, but these are hard deadlines that do get stuck to, and so there's no reason that everyone today couldn't, for example, go and file the SF424, granted that you have the required information. If you're a new organization, you're going to have to work to get the information to be able to provide to the SF424, but please do that as soon as possible. And then, the application deadline upcoming April 21st, and then the webinars that we want to, Ben's question, Ben will be addressing that question specifically next week, March 11th, but if you put in your service request today, somebody on the team will be able to get back to you within 24 hours. 24 to 48 hours is our policy, so encourage you to put that in. We'll just leave these dates up here and check back in with Angela if there are any additional caller questions.
Yes, we do have a couple more. Megan, your line is open.
Yeah, we are on grants.gov, and we're wondering if we'd use the SF424 family or mandatory family form.
That gets to the fact that we don't maintain we're not even at liberty to really give guidance on that. We would just suggest that you contact, let's bring those numbers up.
You can call grants.gov. It's 1-800-518-4726, or you can send them an email. It's support@grants.gov.
And this is, again, is because we don't manage these systems, and so we don't even give advice on which, even though the answer to your question is there for them to answer, we're not answering questions in case we're misinterpreted or we need you to go directly to the source if you encounter any technical difficulties with grants.gov or SAM.gov.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, thanks.
Our next question comes from Amy. Your line is open.
Hi, I'm just wondering if we have started our application before we updated our total assets for the prior fiscal year, what we should do.
So that's a good question. If you know, actually there should have been a restriction. You should have been required to update your total assets field before you launched it. If you launched it and you check on the application launch period, it affects whether or not you end up launching an application as eligible under the small and emerging program or under the core program. So the easiest way to check to make sure that you have the correct application launched is to go to this program profile and to check this field right here, which is eligibility category, and you'll see it will say CECA or core. You'll just want to be sure that that is correct for your organization. If that's the case, then you've launched the correct application. If not, we will have to work with you to launch the correct application.
Okay, so if I go to the to our organizational profile and the total assets I can see are not actually correct for the most recent fiscal year, but we are it shows that we're applying under the category we would expect to apply under. I probably need to reach out through a service request to update something, sounds like.
You'll be able to update the total asset size and you won't need our involvement. There's no validation within the application itself once it is launched. That's checking against total asset size. What you do want to be sure of, because it has implications, are you a small and emerging CDFI or are you a core CDFI?
Well, we're technically a small and emerging. We have a current service request open with you all because we have total assets over $5 million and a portfolio under 1.6, but a big chunk of our assets are restricted to an endowment.
Okay.
So
we're familiar with your case, and it is very specific to your organization. So not to confuse anyone else on the phone call, we'll address your situation through the service request. But just to confirm for anyone else who may be stuck in this situation, what you're wanting to do is to ensure, and it will have prompted you to update this field. Again, I'll just navigate there very quickly. To update this field before launching the application, which is your total asset size, and we're encouraging everyone to use as of your most recent historic fiscal year end as defined in Table 13 of the FA guidance. And that will tie directly back to your historic year one audit as defined by AMIS, which is what it's checking against. And you'll see that field is directly correlated to this eligibility category. And so you can see this is core here. If I go and I updated my total assets, for example, and made this under, or I could just make it $5 million itself, and once I save this, you'll see that I've changed the eligibility category on the program profile to be CECA group, and this is what determines which application you're able to launch. So in direct response to you can see how that changed from core to CECA. That's what's determining which application you launch, which is important for all of the related reasons. You know, core applicants need to provide matching funds, and there are different program requirements if you're applying for core. That's just something to keep in mind. Thanks for the question, Amy. We'll be back with you on your service request.
Our next question comes from Lauren. Your line is open.
Hi, thank you. My question is related back to Table 13 on page 30 of the application guidance for the FA award. And in particular, I was wondering if you can confirm for those of us who have a fiscal year end date of 6/30/2019, if the fiscal year 2020 financial information as our current year is December 31st, 2018, or should that be December 31st, 2019?
Yeah, thanks for flagging that. That is a typo, and that will be corrected in I think it's going to be even published today. We're just waiting for final approval. This date right here should be 2019.
Okay.
The one I've got highlighted right here. Thanks for pointing that out. That is changes in the works, and that will be corrected in a restated version of the guidance. It's one of the dates we did update correctly this year.
Our next question comes from Maya. Your line is open.
Hello, good afternoon. I had a question. My organization was considering applying for a different program that you guys offer, and I was wondering if applying for the TA would affect the eligibility or award chances for that program.
What other program are you referring to?
The Capital Magnet Fund?
The answer, we will put in a service request. We will confirm that with CMF, but we do not, there would be no conflict from CDFI and Native Initiative program, but we would want to confirm for you the other side would be the case before we made a response. It's a different program that our team is not familiar with, so we'd want somebody from the Capital Magnet Fund program to confirm that if you applied for CDFI or NACA program and received an award, that it would not affect your ability to receive a CMF award.
Okay, so thank you very much. I'll put in that request.
Yep, if you could put that in via service request, then we will confirm with our colleagues at CMF. But from our perspective, just, if a group has put in a CMF application, for the last round or is even contemplating it this time, we don't have any preclusions related to applying for CDFI or NACA.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Once again, to ask a question, please press star followed by number 1. One more questions will be 1 moment. Elizabeth, your line is open.
Thank you. Hi, this is Elizabeth Day. I had a question going back to the total asset entry in Amos. And a couple answers ago, you said that it should be the historic year, which would be 2018 for us. But in the guidance, it states that it should be the most recent fiscal year, which would be 2019 for us. So now I would like some clarification.
Yeah, so we're clarifying, basically this is an alignment with the way that Amos is collecting the data. And so to refer to table 13, and the reason we can't just say your most recently completed audit is because some organizations with a 12/31/2019 will have an audit and some will not. And so why this table is important, and this is the go-to source, is to track your organization against this table. So if you gave me what is your fiscal year end?
12/31.
Okay, so you will have a 12/31/2019 with or without an audit. Your historic year 1 will be your data as entered for 2018.
Okay, so go with what you said rather than the instructions that I see on page 17 of the guidance, which says most recent fiscal year.
So that is also one of the corrections that we're making when this gets republished. Let me just confirm for you that both of these options will be accepted. It's just because the former option specifically called out audit, which was written in the NOFA, that policy will still stand, but the preference, this is going to be updated and you'll see the change reflected. you'll basically be allowed to do either option, which will be your most recent completed historic, as this says, which is consistent with the NOFA, or the second option, which we're encouraging everyone because that ties directly to AMIS and the launch of the application.
Okay, thank you very much.
Of course.
Our next question comes from Michelle. Your line is open.
Hello, everyone. So question, I'm new to this grant world, and as I may have to ask grants.gov or inquire with them, but as far as the SF-424, I see SF-424 family, individual family, mandatory, and shore organization. Which form exactly am I submitting?
Yeah, hi. You'd want to email grants.gov. You can email them at support@grants.gov, or you can call them. That's 1-800-518-4726. As Andrew mentioned earlier, this is something that's specific to their site, and since we don't administer it, we're hesitant to give you any kind of guidance or information. It's better that you get it directly from them.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Our next question comes from Fong Hung. Your line is open.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you. Can you hear me okay, everyone?
Yeah, you sound great. What's up?
Thank you. I have a question. We submitted the SF Form 424 last year, and we want to apply for it this year. Are there any new changes to the SF 424 with grants.gov that I should be aware of before I start the process? Thank you.
Yeah. So again, as Roop mentioned, we're unable to offer guidance on a system that we do not manage or operate. That's maintained by a different part of the federal government. We understand it's confusing and at times frustrating that the CDFI fund can't give guidance on that system. But we don't do it because, we're not notified when there are changes. They might, make some adjustment, and then all of a sudden our materials are out of date and inconsistent. And so at the, expense of not being able to provide you good guidance on that, we do provide you the information necessary to contact them directly. So if people are having questions about that system, here's, again, we've pulled up the contact information for contacting them. We just are unable to provide, direct guidance to answer these questions because when it does change, it changes and we're not necessarily notified. And the best place to go for information is directly to the source. And so we're not able to offer any additional guidance except for, the helpful reference to, send them an email or call their help desk, which numbers are on the screen right now.
Okay, good. Thank you. Perfect.
Our next question comes from Rex. Your line is open.
Yeah, thanks. Questions on the financial inputs. We have some separate LLCs, separate from our loan fund. When we're inputting financial information, should I assume that we would only input information for the loan fund's entity, or should this be consolidated information that gets input?
Yeah, great question. We get this question every year. This is addressed, but basically what we care about is the applicant. And so on an unconsolidated basis, the applicant.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Our next question comes from Stacy. Your line is open.
Thank you. Sorry about my confusion, but I just want to go back to the clarification around the fiscal year end date versus audit. You said you were going to accept both. So does that mean that you will accept a current audit? Like if they have the 2019 audit, you will accept that as most recent fiscal year?
No, that is explicit to the total asset size question, which again is a prompt to launch the correct application. Once you're in the application, the data that is going to be provided is consistent with Table 13 of the guidance, which is down here on page 30. So that total asset size question is just, its only function is to help you launch the correct application. And that's why it exists outside of the application. Once you're in the application, if you do provide the data consistent with Table 13, obviously it's going to tie to historic year 1. If it doesn't, that total asset size question, because it was published as the audit, and the only reason this matters really is because of this situation here, where not all 1231 groups will have an audit yet, which is why that statement need not include the term audit. So again, we're asking everyone to refer to Table 13, and I would just say highly encourage you to use this table in filling out the total asset size test, because once you put your data inside the application, you will be required to use this table, because what the application does when it launches is it uses that information to benchmark and to pre-populate the years that will go in your application financial data, which is the basis for all of your projections, et cetera.
Yeah, I understand. And the reason I'm stuck on this is because it affects eligibility. Because if we're not able to use a 2019 audit, we're not eligible.
Correct. I don't know the specifics, but
so that's why I'm asking, just clarifying.
Yeah.
Okay.
The goal is you would be eligible for a program. It might be technical assistance, but the goal would be if you use the 2018 data, and if you want to submit a service request, we can look at and just attach your 2018 financial data, your audit. We can confirm with you, which program you will be eligible for. But basically,
no, thank you. We know what we're eligible for. We've gotten 2 FA awards already, but now we're not eligible based on this new delineation with the portfolio minimum size as of the last audit, which is a year ago.
Okay.
So, yeah, thanks.
That helps clarify. Great.
I show no further questions at this time.
Okay, Angela, we've got a couple of questions came through the chat window. It looks like a couple of folks have fully utilizing our conference capacity here. So a question, sorry I can't call in, technical. What to do if you're in the process of changing your target market but haven't gotten approval? Should you tailor your application for existing target market or the new proposed target market? The question is coming from Christine Lisa. And so we would want to check in with you on the status, if you can put this in a service request about the change in target market and where you're at in that process, and we can help respond to that question. Angela, any other calls?
No questions at this time.
Okay. Let's put the dates back up here. And again, remind folks that the next series of webinars, zoom in here, so a week from today, right, the 10th, on the TA application. So we'll answer additional questions specifically about the TA application. And then the following day, the Wednesday, the 11th, will be the FA application workshop. And then we give a couple of weeks as people go through their application and develop additional questions. We'll have not a presentation, but just a general question and answer. And these are divided between the CDFI program and then folks that are applying under either of the Native Initiative programs.
This is Megan, one of the CDFI program portfolio managers. I wanted to underscore the importance of the March 23rd deadline to enter your EIN and DUNS numbers. We've given out a lot of guidance on some of the issues in the past, but I wanted to really make sure that everyone understood the importance of having the EIN and DUNS numbers matching. So for example, we've had some situations where there's a 0 in front of the number and it doesn't quite match. or somebody has put the EIN and DUNS of their parent company, and the deadline has passed, and we've faced some situations where we have to reject an application. And so I just wanted to make sure that everyone's aware of that requirement. And if you have any questions, just reach out before the deadline to make sure we can square it away. And to also make sure that the EIN, in addition to having it being accurate, matching an AMIS as well. So there's a couple different components of it to make sure that it is squared away before the March 23rd deadline. And if you have any doubts, just submit a service request or give us a call.
Excellent. So thankful you mentioned that, Megan, because that, happens every year, and unfortunately there's nothing we can do about it after the time passes. And now that Megan highlighted that date again, on your organization profile, you can see where this information is entered. It's on the same page as we've been looking at, focused on the updating total assets field. So here it is right here, just to confirm that the EIN and DUNS number are matching the information that's on your SF424. Okay. Angela, if there's any last questions, if not, we can call it a wrap today. And just to remind everyone who may be calling in for subsequent webinars that we have, the information that is online on the calendar for the webinars, and I'll just pull up that page again. As you dial in here, the information right here is the information that it's consistent, it's the same number, but I understand some people were just trying to access the webinar with voice over internet, but here's the actual conference call number. This is in direct response to what I think is a question by Monica Copeland. So just to highlight that that's where to find the dial-in information. Angela, is there anything else for the good of the order?
No questions.
Well, great. We're really excited. Hope everyone got some valuable information out of today's call. Again, please contact us via a service request if you have any additional questions. And then check back on this page periodically, the one that we've been navigating to, as new information and resources are published. And for example, the AMIS guidance was just published today. We're in process of making some minor corrections to the FA and the TA guidance, and we'll also be using questions that come in through the service requests and through informational webinars like this to develop responses to frequently asked questions to be of the best help that we can to you folks as you put in your applications. So with that, we'll just end today's call. Thank you today for everyone's participation. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your participation in today's conference. Please disconnect at this time.